The lockdown uncovered my cheating boyfriend and saved me from what I thought was the perfect relationship. Okay, so, this is my first time posting here. I've been wanting to for a while but never felt ready. I'm sorry in advance, it's an extremely long post. Just part 1 and 3 have the things that matter. Part 1, I female 24 met my now ex-male 32 in December 2017. We started sleeping together in April 2018. To make a long story short, we had a 1 year and some months long don't ask, don't tell kind of relationship. He is good looking, tall, very charming, funny and not at all possessive, which I really liked. We had insane time, like the type you feel sore the next day but still want more of. And we would be at it for hours and hours. In September 2018 we grew apart but he out of the blue asked me to take care of his dog for him, a 9-month-old French bulldog, so we get back in touch. In November he signs my lease for me. That was a really big deal. And in June 2019, following a brief breakup due to neither of us having enough time, we get back in touch and became official. He says he loves me. I say it back. He gives me the keys to his place and I gave him the keys to mine. We meet each other's friends and families, etc. etc. In 2019 he goes to Rio de Janeiro with me to spend the holidays with my family. More info: even though we were in a serious relationship, we were really light with each other. Which I loved because I have a hectic schedule and so does he. I'm a second-year med student and an English teacher. He's an on-field camera assistant for a sports channel, so he travels a lot for a couple of days at a time. Everything was a pretty little fairy tale. He was my first actual orgasm. Sorry if that's TMI. He made me laugh, and even though we didn't have that much time together, when we did, it was quality time. I felt like I actually found someone I clicked with. There were a few red flags I chose to ignore. Almost all weekends I was alone. I always had to adapt to his timetable. Fights or disagreements always ended in ducking, not actually talking over the problem. He always threatened to take the dog when we fought. I'm not exaggerating when I say always. In past relationships I was quite insecure and tad possessive. But with him it was different. We binged 24/7 and I felt like we understood each other. He treated me like a princess, not money-wise low. We always split things 50-50, which I liked, and his confidence made me feel really secure and confident. In December 2019 I took him to Rio to spend the holidays with my family. I'm from Brazil but we live in Argentina. In January we returned and things were fine, but in the last week things went downhill. He started working a lot, so did I. Plus I had 2 very important finals, so we had very little time together, which basically meant we were having less time, which was very important, definitely too important in our relationship. He started treating me like crap, which he never did. We used to send a lot of nudes to each other. He started accusing me that I probably sent them to other guys and making jokes that I used to be hotter. He was distant, and with lower time drive than usual. I talked to him and he said he was just tired due to work, and the hot weather. Summers in Argentina are brutal. My naive self chose to believe him, but when things didn't get any better I talked to him again. Same excuse. I was timely frustrated and upset, but still tried to believe and understand him. Then on the 24th of February something happened. I asked if I could message my friend through his phone. I never looked through his phone, and he doesn't look through mine either, but when I have finals I delete all social media including WhatsApp to arrange something with a classmate, and before handing me the phone he dealt it and blocked someone's chat in front of me. I saw the photo and her name. I asked why he did that and he answered screaming, "Stop being crazy. You are an ass. Why are you even looking at my phone?" I was shocked because even though he's temperamental he never ever reacts like that. Not with me. So I just shut up and decided for the sake of my finals I'd ignore it. But it crushed me. Since the beginning of February 2020 things hadn't been okay, and I really wasn't okay after seeing he deleted messages and was acting weird. Since he refused to talk about it, for my own sanity I decided to break up for good. So on March 7th he came over after a 4-day trip, and I talked to him. He said no to the breakup, He said we were both just busy and stressed and that he loved me and we could fix things. I was happy. I thought he would want to break up, so I decided to try. But things didn't change. He did start treating me all mushy-gushy, but there was just something off. So here is where I go psycho. Yes, you can judge me. I look up the girl on Instagram, decided I'll message her. I find her, and as soon as I see her I feel a tad better. There is no way he could be having anything with this girl. She was short, somewhat chubby and square. Not super ugly, but above all a hardcore feminist. All of these he openly really dislikes. On the 16th of March, the day before the beginning of COVID-19 lockdown, I messaged her from an anonymous account saying I was his ex and that all I wanted was closure. I did this because I wasn't 100% he had cheated and I was scared she would tell him and he'd react badly. She answers right away saying they never had anything, that she met him and his friend at a club she works at and that they exchanged numbers so they could get in free next time they went. Odd, but he didn't cheat. Either way, I wasn't okay with that news. On that same day he tells me to go spend the quarantine with him. I left work and decided to go straight to his house since it was late. The next day I'd return home to get the dog and my things. We had a very serious discussion that night. I felt guilty about writing the girl and I wanted to tell him, but I didn't. What I did tell him was that I needed space to think about whether what we had was really what I wanted, and that we should take advantage of the quarantine to do so. He held me and told me that he wanted me. That he was sorry he had been distant but that we were okay and I just needed to breathe. I had to work the next day in the morning online and he told me use his computer and go home later. The next day I was in the living room and he was in the bedroom. While I'm delivering an online class with several students, the unimaginable happens. He starts sexting a girl. I couldn't believe it at first. I thought it was a joke. I opened the window of what I think was Messenger and there were at least 3 other chats with other women, one of them on the 8th of March. I felt sick and started shaking. I instantly thought I'd end the class and confront him. Then all of a sudden he came out of the room. I froze. He kissed my forehead and whispers in my ear that he wants to duck me when I'm done working. That's when I realized that confronting him would be pointless. He was a pathological liar and wanted everything. The girlfriend and to duck side chicks. So I delivered 3 more hours of class, and when I was done and while he was in the shower I collected everything that was mine in the apartment, wrote a note, talked to our friend in common to get the dog, coward, and left. I got home and showered, and soon after that he arrived asking me with the coldest face on what he had done. I told him I knew he had lied and cheated on me. He swore on the dog's life he hadn't. This went on for an hour. He fake cried, held onto my legs, said he would die, etc. I was shocked. He was the super proud cold type. Never in a gazillion years did I think he'd have this reaction. He kept on insisting he didn't know what he had done to deserve this, so I finally said I had seen the MSGs and I wanted him and our dog out of my house. He showed me the message, and it's true there was nothing that showed they had slept together, but I was firm and still said I didn't want someone who thought that was okay. He finally left. Part 3, March 17, 2020. I saw Staf with at least 3 other women and dumped him. Over the course of 10 days he tried getting back together, pleaded he knew he had slipped, still claiming he hadn't actually cheated, and that he needed me, that I had changed his life and that he could change for me, etc. etc. He wrote me emails, made a very crappy slideshow with photos of our dogs saying, "Mom, don't abandon me." This was crazy because, as I said before, I was sure he'd just say screw it and move on. His best friend wrote me asking me to please reconsider the breakup, and I got so close to doing so because I missed him and my dog, and I started thinking that what he did wasn't that bad. Wrong. Lucky for me, the unimaginable happened again. The girl I had written on Instagram 1 week before saying she had nothing with him wrote me the following: "Hey, I have to tell you that I lied to you about X. You were right all along about him. He's not worth a single tear. I'm very embarrassed I chose to believe a man over a woman. I'm sorry. She later went on to showing me that they had been talking and that he slept with her a week after Valentine's Day, and then around the 24th of February he blocked her. She got angry and talked to him on Instagram. He has no photos with me. Maybe this was a red flag too, but to me it was okay since he never uploads photos, and he said he felt vulnerable with her and that's why I avoided talking to her, and that was that. Then on the 16th of March she showed him my message and he said he hadn't been in a relationship in years, so he had no idea who it could be. I was angry she had lied to me in the first place. So when she told me the truth and started asking me some questions, all I did was send her a picture of the both of us and said I was with him for 2 years. We had a dog which lived and was cared for by me, and he just spent the holidays with my family after that. Even though she continued the conversation, I didn't read it and deleted the account. His best friend kept on insisting I give him another chance, so I sent her the screenshot. I covered the girl's photo and name showing her that he had cheated on me, asked her and him to leave me alone. Anyway, on the 17th of April it was his birthday and 1 month since I left him. I felt like writing him, but instead I decided to write the girl, thanking her. I explained our story and thanked her for having confessed, and I apologized for not having done so before. She never answered. And that bloody sucked. Conclusion: I just wanted to tell any of you who are struggling in a relationship to please be honest, obviously to others but mainly to yourself. Stop and think if you are actually happy. Don't think about the ifs. Nothing is as we think it is or will be. Everyone deserves actual happiness and respect. Nowadays it's hard to find someone you click with. And it's hard to give in to love. The colder you are, the better, and honestly, that's not okay. I know this is so cliche, but your happiness depends on you, no matter how good they make you feel. If your well-being depends on how they are treating you, there is already something wrong. It's about being true to what you actually want and need. Try to figure that out, and once you do, don't settle for less. If it's free as time with multiple people, a serious relationship, or even no time at all, then so be it, but be honest with yourself about what it is. It's not easy. I'm still feeling like it. I still miss my dog, and even though I hate to admit it, I miss who I thought my boyfriend was. But at the end of the day, I truly am more at peace alone than when we were together. And eventually I will be happy again. Or so I hope. We were considering moving in together at the end of my lease in October this year. I ended up having to tell my family to block him cause he stayed messaging them asking about me. I'm honestly very lucky I found out how and when I did. Deep down he was toxic and always needed constant attention, and I was lonely. Neither of us were truly happy, but instead of owning up to it, we both lied and settled for what we thought wanted and got hurt. Avoid doing the same. Thanks to whoever read everything. If any of you have similar experiences or post-cheating breakup recovery stories, I would really like to read them. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, wow. Stay strong, focus on school and on yourself. Use this experience to grow, but take the time you need to heal. Best of luck to you. Redditor 2, reading this really hit home for me. It also took me 2 years to really end things with my ex, and choosing peace for yourself is the best choice I've ever made. I'm so sorry that you went through that. To those who might read my comment, let yourself heal. I used to have so much anger from thinking why we had to be put through such painful experiences. However, it changed over time, from regretting meeting this person and turned to learning so many lessons from this person. Those lessons lead to having better standards, act upon red flags, and most importantly, settling for what you truly deserve. Time heals almost all wounds. Thank you for sharing your story, and I'm truly very happy for you. Best wishes. Redditor 3, wow, he seems dangerous, psychopath, or at least narcissistic. Listen to the podcast Something Was Wrong, the first season may ring a bell. Redditor 4, I have a story too that involves that cold blank stare thing you're talking about. I wrote the story out and it was too long, so this is the important part now. I'm tipsy from one glass. He initiates the time and he wants a BJ, and I agree, and I started going down and kept holding my head down to where I couldn't breathe. And I would lift my head for air and he would shove it back down again. So after the second time of me fighting for air, I finally just stopped and laid on his chest. I think I was still in a daze because I kinda wasn't tripping yet, so with my neck on his chest turned away from him, he then grabs and pinches the back of my neck so hard that it nearly made my body go numb. He liked to box and stuff, so he knows about fighting. Still, my alarm bells hadn't quite gone off yet, and I started kinda wrestling him to get free my neck in sort of disbelief that this was actually happening. But it took him like 10 seconds to put me in a pretzel, and I remember looking up at him panting hard, and he just looked at me and then proceeded to cover up my mouth. How I did it, but as soon as his hand was on my face, I jumped up on my feet, turned the light on and looked at him as he had sat down, and I looked at him shocked and said, "This will never happen again." Then went straight to the bathroom. I looked at myself in the mirror and saw a flash of me having 2 black eyes and thought, oh hell no, I'm not that woman. I'd see how good looking or perfect you think you are, you will never catch me allowing you to harm me at all. So then I walked out of the bathroom, and then I saw that blank cold stare face. He even talked in a monotone-like way. I swear to God, to this day no man on earth has ever came close to scaring the acid out of me quite like that before. He was robotic. I sat down next to him and said again, "I don't tolerate that acid." And he turned his head robotically with the blankest freaking face I've ever seen and said, "Do you want to go to bed?" I had no car then and I needed a ride home, so sadly I agreed and we went upstairs and slept. The next day I get up early and he came into the bathroom for a quickie with me in front of the mirror, and the whole time I just thought, just do whatever and then get the duck out. It was the quickest quickie of all time, and then he again turned his face that was still blank AF, terrifyingly emotionless, and robotically asked if I needed an Uber ride. I immediately said yes, and he called and walked me out. All blank face, and hugged me before I got in the car. The sigh of relief, like I just barely escaped death, leaves my body, and my anxiety had flushed immediately as we drive off. When I got home I told him to never call me again, but I asked about his blankness, and he said it was because he felt embarrassed. I know what embarrassed people look like, and I have never seen an embarrassed blank face or even anything remotely close to the face he had. I was really starting to like him too, but when you see a person have normal day-to-day emotions like laughing or thinking just whatever, you go from that to looking at a robot with no emotion whatsoever is probably the most surreal thing I've experienced in a person. And to be able to told it for as long as he did was like a really awful joke. A prank gone too far or something, because it wasn't even the same person as just a moment ago. How can a normal person do that? They can't, because normal people aren't sociopaths that fake all their emotions entirely. Ladies and gents, if you're ever in a situation with someone and you confront them about something they did, and they look at you without an ounce of emotion on their face, it is your duty to understand that this person is potentially extremely dangerous to your well-being, and if you value yourself just a tiny bit or your life in general, you must immediately find a safe way out of the situation and to never again be near that person. It is essential to your life that you recognize these signs and become aware of what you're dealing with, because it will not ever be something that is in your favor or best interest. They can do anything such as murder or rape and not care at all about it afterwards. They lie about their emotions, intentions, and know how to mimic feelings and use time as a tool to lure you in. But if you get caught up in their web somehow, don't you dare think for 1 second that you are safe or just going crazy for no reason. These people are evil actors and should be shot dead for all the harm they cause others.